It's really a deal.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
I can't have, I just was telling Nancy, because Nancy came.
Well, hi, George.
I'm happy, I don't want to be recorded,
Why?
because I don't, I'd like to have a private meeting with these people.
Well, I think they invited me. I didn't just show up.
Wait, there's nothing to
There isn't, I can't have, I was just telling Nancy, I can't, you have 45 people coming?
We have probably 30 people.
35.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming down. This
Thanks for coming
is
out.
like old time.
Appreciate that.
You want to come in as a citizen?
Well, I'm just going to come in. You're Mel's not going to come in.
Amazing conversation. He's listening. And he's telling me that Senator Whitehouse is doing his due diligence and making sure that he has adequate information before making a decision.
Sure.
Go ahead.
I don't know, adequate information?
Can we have this conversation inside?
We have
I
more
don't have a lot of room to accommodate 45 people, that's what I was concerned about.
Your sister. Yeah, so here's the thing, not everybody's here, obviously. This isn't 30 some odd people, so how can we get everybody else in as well? So let's do the population question first. We need to make sure everybody who signed up to come can get inside. And
The
then,
door is locked, so.
Okay.
Yeah, but we can come down.
like, can we let them in, is the question. Okay.
Well, you can't, I can't do that. It's a secure building. If somebody shows up, if you guys want to wait a few minutes for them, and then if we could all come up together, that's fine.
Okay.
Up to you.
Yeah, that's fine. Can we wait in here just when people show up?
Because you can't, I have to open the door and close for you.
Okay.
It's
So you have a
building.
thing. I got you.
So I
What time
have,
is this?
It's 12,
Let's give it,
12:52
so,
you guys want it?
to 1 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be reception there. Yeah, that's fine. We can stay. I'll stay out here till 1 o'clock. And then,
Are you definitely seriously saying you don't want the press to be there? Because, like, I was invited, so are you saying, really, George, that you don't want me in there?
Steve, I don't really care.
All right, cool, then I'm coming. All right, thanks.
The same message is going to be what I just told Nancy, so.
Excuse me.
All right.
we're all on the same side. We're all here to save democracy, George.
Oh, go ahead. I'm just trying to get out of the way.
Thank you.
always has been.
I just limit the amount of people that I have in the office because it's just full. I don't want anybody getting sick.
But who would have thought that?
Was it, what floor is it? Second floor?
Second floor.
I can go upstairs.
You guys want to walk?
Yeah. Hey.
You all set? You need this? Take it out? Sorry? You're all set, right? We're good. Yeah.
Well, hot's better than cold.
Slightly more survivable. Thank you.
No, we didn't make it smaller.
I'm just, well, I mean, 8 years is a long time.
In Princeton, there was one.
Senator Reed.
At Senator Reed's office in Princeton. At Garden City. You want us to all sit there too?
It's up to you if you'd like. Feel free. Have a seat.
Oh, I'm okay, I can stand.
Yeah.
We'll let other people take over.
You guys want to get started? What do you want to do?
Well, I guess, I don't know. We're Indivisible, Rhode Island. We're Indivisible, Rhode Island, reconstituted again. You were very familiar with our work
Yeah.
previously. We are, mainly we're trying to save democracy. we would like to see Democrats actually, form a unified opposition. They are never going to get any credit from MAGA for anything that they do that is potentially civil or, within norms of good governance. And it's we're a little shocked. I think probably all helped Kamala and any and all other Democrats. I phone banked, canvassed, you name it, postcards.
Yeah.
And all Democrats at the time said they were fighting, a tyrannical authoritarian regime that might come in, and that our democracy was at stake. But since November 6th, it's like, not a word. Not a word. We'll find common ground. We're going to look at and we're going to listen to him in a hearing, which, honestly, we've seen this before. They lie. Mm-hmm. It's lies.
You're talking about the nominees.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, anything that is Republican at this point is, they're lying through their teeth. So anyway, I think we're all a little bit disappointed, frustrated. I'm concerned that Democrats aren't stepping up. We know that democracy is at stake, and they talked a good game up until November 6th. What happened? Democracy's not at stake anymore?
I don't know what are you disappointed in?
Okay.
What would you like them to do?
Well, okay, I want all Democrats. So those nominees, obviously the Republicans have a majority in the Senate and the House. Chances are they will prevail. That's a big if, given their own proclivities and their, chaos.
Yeah.
They don't need any Democrats helping them by taking things out of couture or by actually voting for the Laken-Riley Act, which is an abomination.
I agree.
That's the kind of stuff we're seeing. And
I want to give you the message that Indivisible sent out to nationally, the things that we would like Senator Whitehouse to do. We want him to openly oppose the freeze on federal funding. There are a lot of big universities here that depend on research grants.
That's done.
All right. Why? But we only see it in the paper. I don't see Whitehouse's statements in the paper. So I got to be wide open about it. Indivisible is also saying Democrats should be shutting down the Senate. No more votes, no deals, no cooperating with the Republicans, right, on the budget. And that they're supposed to, ideally, and I think Sheldon will do this, oppose all these nominees until, while this freeze is in place. Reject requests for unanimous consent. That's one thing that Sheldon could do. Does he already know this? I wrote to him, so he's got this list. Does he see it?
Yeah.
I sent an email yesterday.
So Sheldon's a friend, so does he read this stuff?
If you want to send that to me, that's fine.
I'll forward it to
Nancy
you.
I assume it's what you showed me.
I'm Nancy Stratt. My husband is a member of Indivisible. I'm not currently a member of Indivisible, but my husband does have those documents.
Roy,
Yes, Roy, yes, yeah. He's down in Washington right now.
Yeah.
Can you put your name?
Sure.
So that is what Indivisible is asking the senator to do at a national level, as well as Reid, the whole gang. It's got to be much more public. We can't be the only people speaking. It's got to be our elected representatives who are making noise.
And they have to clearly state that they are in opposition. We are fighting a fascist takeover. I mean, it's not hyperbolic anymore. Yesterday's or the day before's activities have shown this isn't, hyperbolic. And we need Democrats to actually stand up and oppose that, not just in the formal settings that they operate in, but everywhere. 90 million people didn't get the message, and they're actually persuadable if our Democrats stand up and say, this is an existential crisis. We may not recognize our country in 2 years. Please stand with us.
Yep.
We're going to oppose everything, and let Republicans nominate or confirm all their nominations. We realize it's a majority, but we don't want to see Democrats be complicit.
They're giving the illusion of our complicity. Hakeem Jeffries has said this. He's not voting for anything. He just made a public statement a day or two ago about that. That's what we'd like to see across the board. Republicans don't have any problem voting en masse against anything they don't like and then claiming credit for when all those goodies come to their districts, right? They're completely hypocritical bastards, right? If they're willing to vote against something, we should be too. Not to make nice, but to make for principle's sake. That's
Yes.
Yesterday, AOC came out with the statement, or it became clear that AOC is going to be the face of the vocal
Yeah.
opposition. That's great.
Yeah.
Every Democrat needs to be behind her. We don't need one person
doesn't-
being
I
the
mean,
face of the
don't-
opposition. We need everybody doing
Yeah.
what AOC is
But
doing.
in the interest of reconciliation, I actually think Sheldon and Angus King should be getting together to get Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski to become
Anybody,
independent. Any of them to become independent because they can't possibly agree with the Republican Party the way it is today.
And here's something the
And
Democrats.
Sheldon's friends with some of those guys. I know
Yeah.
he used to be friends with Lindsey Graham,
Yes.
and he really ought to try to budge these people based on friendship, I think.
Here's something else that I think Democrats need to en masse reiterate over and over. Donald Trump does not have a mandate. 2/3 of the country, 2/3 of the electorate did not vote for him. Now 1/3 didn't vote at all. That's a problem. But 2/3 of the country did not vote for Donald Trump. And a 1.5 percent popular is not a mandate.
Yeah.
People in this country rejected Project 2025. They were appalled when we, forced it out into the open and discussed it. So much so that Donald Trump said, I don't know anything about it. I have no idea what they're talking about. Democrats need to reiterate over and over again, this is Project 2025. Donald Trump is Project 2025, and he is implementing it within 9 days of taking the oath of office.
Yeah.
And peg that to them. People who got it were strongly opposed to Project 2025.
Sure.
So now they need to peg all of this action and activity back to 2025 and tell the people he lied to you. This is Project 2025, and within 8 days he's on it.
He's on it, yeah.
And every
Absolutely.
component of the Project 25 is unbelievably unpopular
Yes.
across the political spectrum.
Yeah.
The people are with Democrats if they will speak up. I don't know why they're concerned. Maggots are violent, and who knows what they're going to do, but they're going to do it anyway.
To me, this is feeling like 1939 in Germany. This is a moment where we don't have the luxury of saying, let's find common ground.
Yes,
Because
I
the
agree
common
with that.
ground is with evil.
People are asking.
Hi.
They've got room for those.
That's
The
fine.
elders are concerned.
That's good.
Yep, it is good.
Well, we're the ones who have
Are we
the
all
time.
set?
We should be, unless there's more people that come a little bit late,
I
but
would also ask, you're the leader here, but I would also ask that Sheldon actually come and lead some kind of public protest. Because what I'm
Or
seeing,
rallies again.
I'm seeing on Substack and Blue Sky, people writing and say, where are all the protesters? Well, where are all the leaders leading the protest? Right? We actually could use Sheldon and Jack Reed to go together in an auditorium and say, come
Or
on.
town halls again, that's what I mean
Do
by
town
rallies.
halls.
Remember, they did do town halls, and we don't mind them doing it all together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be one-on-one. We don't have that kind of time either. But remember, they actually
Sheldon
did
used to do
multiple town halls.
No, we've done, we did town halls.
During
I know,
the
but
first
now we
Trump
need 'em.
administration, we need more. And even protests out here at the Capitol. I mean, honestly, we need public showing of our representatives' faces now.
Well, that's us. That's kind of on us. And I'm very surprised Resist Hate didn't kind of spontaneously reconstitute, because they were a big part of any of the protesting, loud protesting in Rhode Island. Indivisible, we had a role as well. But again, that was a groundswell of spontaneous grassroots that was awesome.
It will happen.
So that's kind of on us. But, town halls once again.
Yeah.
Where they all appear and they answer questions and they actually tell us what's going on, because part of it, we read a lot about this is illegal, this is da-da-da. And then the next thing you know, well, I guess not for Donald Trump it ain't. Yeah. I mean, so we need to really understand that they're fighting hard, not acquiescing.
But don't they only do town halls when they're on break from?
Yes.
Whenever they have time, they come home on the
I mean,
weekend.
it's not a long flight from DC to
No,
Rhode
it's
Island. Like that's part of it, right? So my name is Asim. I live in Pawtucket. The reality of why we're here right now is not to tell you how to do your job, right? That's number one. We're not here to tell you how to do your job. However, there are some very concerning things that are happening that deal directly with Rhode Island and Sheldon Whitehouse.
Yeah.
Namely, his non-committal to disavow RFK Jr. That's number one. And Nancy said that you told her that he's still collecting information. Could you tell us, and the answer is probably no, but I'm going to ask, could you tell us what more information he needs to say no to somebody who is anti-vaccines, who killed people in American Samoa, and who is, by and large, a predator?
Yeah.
Right? What other information do you need? And let me preface this with, I get the granny story, I get it, right? We all have been affected by Medicare, Medicaid, all of that stuff. We get it. But at the end of the day, that is a very small part of how RFK, being the Secretary of Health and Human Services, is not just going to affect Medicare and Medicaid, he's literally going to get the most vulnerable people killed in this country.
Yep.
So can you please just tell us what more information he's seeking?
He also
just tell you. Oh, go
isn't he
ahead.
also the head of an organization that works against vaccines?
I would love to
Let's let
hear.
him respond.
I'd love to hear your response.
Just say we're going through our normal process like we do with any other nominee. Which is
Can I just say that this feels like a crisis situation, and I appreciate your normal process, right?
Absolutely.
But this other gentleman said that this is an existential issue, and I think that is the right word for this situation. Like this is a crisis beyond all crises that I've seen in my lifetime. And so going through the normal process doesn't quite seem
Appropriate.
like enough.
It doesn't meet
You
the
know,
moment.
it doesn't meet the moment,
Let
to
me
your
ask
point.
you this. If you were in favor of a nominee, personally, and you felt that the nominee was qualified, and Sheldon or another senator came out prior to the hearing, prior to doing due diligence, prior to gathering information, and said, I'm voting against this nominee, wouldn't you say, well, please give him the opportunity to be heard and to be vetted and to go through the information?
Yes.
I think that I think that we're comparing apples to oranges.
I don't think so.
I don't.
We're
If I
going
could
through our
just say,
normal
if I could
Let her
just say,
What
Yes,
I
if-
heard from Senator Whitehouse, what I heard were questions about asking him for promises. Would you promise? Will you not do this? Will you promise not? That's not what we want to hear.
But
We
did you
don't-
hear the end?
No, I don't know if I heard the end or
What
not.
he
but-
said at the end is, I've received promises like this from prior nominees and they mean nothing to me.
Right, I mean, especially from him, especially from.
So I think that was his.
But he also
that was
wasn't
his-
questioning RFK Jr. If you really
He
want
did,
to.
he did question him later in the afternoon.
but
Anyway.
to say, if I could just say, this is beyond whether or not I agree. This is not like, do I agree with somebody's?
CV.
Yes.
They're, maybe
It's
they don't
not
have the
that-
right education.
Yeah,
Or,
they didn't go to
This
good
is a
school.
conspiratory-
This is like
he's-
really big. Like it's really big here.
And
What's
that's why
happening?
we're going through our normal process.
Then I
like
would
we
ask
do
if
on
you
any
could go
other-
through your normal process faster.
But Sheldon,
Or
Sheldon
more
can be,
public.
Sheldon can be a
Publicly.
leader here the way Elizabeth Warren is turning out to be a leader. So Elizabeth Warren is actually in public a lot saying, we have to ask this candidate these questions because this is this person's record. Sheldon can do that. Sheldon has a really wonderful way of presenting information to the
Excellent.
public and
Yeah.
changing people's minds. And he's on Judiciary's lead
Yeah.
committee. He needs to be more vocal in
He does.
public
Okay.
so that we
That's
can
what's
see him
missing.
leading the way Elizabeth Warren is.
He has a public profile that he jeopardized yesterday because I follow, and also, by the way, they need to get on Blue Sky because none of the Democrats are on Blue Sky, and that's where we are now.
Okay.
We've all migrated. But the thing is, I've seen things over the last years where Sheldon, people who don't live in Rhode Island necessarily, but some who do, oh my God, Sheldon Whitehouse, he's the greatest, if only he'd run for president, blah, blah, blah. And it's kind of nice that our senator has this huge profile and following when he was going after the Supreme Court, etc. But this, and since November 6th,
Nothing.
Sheldon has a profile as big as Liz.
Yeah.
But where is he? He's telling us he's friends with RFK Jr. and he's got to think about
Can I
it.
address the lack of protests?
I think
Well, there was a big, huge protest in D.C.
there is, but there should be far more.
Sure there
But
was.
I think I know why. Because of my own experience and so many other people that I know, which is that I have not heard the monster's voice nor seen his face in
so
2
true.
months. I cannot bear it. I
Oh,
cannot
right, I
bear
can
it.
hardly listen to
And
him.
I think so
Oh,
many people
yes.
feel the same way.
Yeah.
But I'm here today Okay, and I think there's going to be a groundswell of protest that doesn't appear to be here because people are quiet, but people are furious. And he needs to get ahead of that groundswell. He needs to get ahead of it. We're here. There are millions of us, and when we decide it's time for pushback, it's going to be
Right, and he can
big.
lead that and help steer it, and he should. Really, he
I
should.
agree, and I just want to
He should
add
be
to that.
leading, yeah.
He was a prosecutor, and
Yeah.
when he decides to prosecute a case, buyer beware. Nobody will win. He's brilliant. He has not been prosecuting this case since November 7th, and that's what we're asking for.
What is he doing? I've been such
You
a
can let them know.
strong admirer of his, a follower of his,
Voted for him.
you know, fundraiser and everything else I could do. But I was just, it was a jaw-dropping thing to watch him, you know, asking these very gentle, will you promise, will you sure you won't do this? That was just not Senator Whitehouse.
You're talking about yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You felt that was gentle, the way that he spoke
Yes.
with him?
Yes, asking, can you promise? That's absurd.
Yeah. No,
Well, any
Senator,
promise that any Republican makes these days is vapid.
That's funny
It's
you say that,
guaranteed
because
to be violated.
we
How about
received a ton
Senator
of calls
Bennett?
yesterday saying it
Anybody-
was too hard on him. So,
Well, the right
Consider
is
the
actually on
source.
social media
People-
trashing him,
People
but
who were opposed to him,
yeah.
we have not gotten a lot of calls here, I'll be honest, in favor of him. But we did get calls yesterday saying that they thought he was too hard on him. And people who were opposed
To
to
be
him.
honest with you, George, like this is my opinion. I'm not speaking for the group. It sounded as if he was giving RFK Jr. the answers to the test.
I don't
This
agree
is
with
what
that.
people are concerned
yeah.
about. You
I
may
don't
want to
agree with that.
address
I
these
agree.
things. And I get it. Listen, we all have friends. There are certain friends we would say, hey, yeah, absolutely, you should be Secretary of HHS. And there are certain friends we wouldn't let babysit our kids.
Yeah.
RFK Jr. is a don't babysit the kids guy, right? So if he's a don't babysit the kids guy, and I know y'all aren't used to hearing people talk like this because I'm not from around here, but if he is a don't babysit the kids kind of guy, I don't want him babysitting HHS and costing my brother, who's a doctor, potentially his job or his license or any of those things. People in our neighborhoods who are aging, they're going to die because of this man and because of his opposition to sound science.
Yeah.
And I know Sheldon Whitehouse has 6 years in office. He's not up for re-election again. You have a job until 2030, my
Not
guy.
in jeopardy.
Right? He's not in jeopardy. So now is the time to
Stand
fight.
up.
Now is the time to get the fangs out and make sure that all of those people, and listen, I was one of them. I saw Sheldon Whitehouse clips of him when I didn't even live in New England. And I said, man, if that guy was my senator, ooh, I would be all about it. And we are all about it. Raise your hand if you voted for Sheldon Whitehouse. Yeah, we gave him a 20,
phone bank,
my guy,
postcarded.
we gave him a 20-point mandate.
Yeah.
A 20-point
And he has for
mandate.
6 years.
That yesterday was not a 20-point mandate questioning of a candidate or nomination
That's a fair
for
point. That's a good
HHS.
point.
And you know that, George. You know that.
I disagree with that, but you're entitled to
He has
your opinion. I'm
capital.
entitled to
He
mine.
has
This
capital.
woman wanted to say something, and then I have a question for
Yeah,
you.
I would really love to pivot for a second, and I know right now we're talking about Sheldon and his vote and RFK. I want to speak at this from a more personal angle, if I could, potentially. My name's Jen. I'm from Middletown, Rhode Island. I'm originally from Massachusetts. We moved here right at the beginning of COVID. So being from Massachusetts, I am incredibly spoiled as far as politicians go, as far as policies go. So it's been a shift for me to come here. RFK in particular, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I've phone banked, I've called, I've written letters, I've marched. I've never shown up at someone's office before. And so for me, this is an incredibly pivotal and important moment in time. And like others have said, I don't feel like we can show up to this MMA match with some pom-poms. I think we really, really need to get clear. I think we need to be passionate. I think we need to be confrontational, divisive sometimes if we need to be. I'm here today for my aging mother. I'm here today for my 2 daughters, young adult women who are contemplating being permanently sterilized because they are terrified of their future in this country. RFK is not the person to put in charge of people's lives right now. We had a COVID pandemic where 1 million Americans died during the last Trump presidency. We now are on the cusp of a bird flu. We're hearing no information about it. We're going to put this guy in charge of Health and Human Services. He is not the candidate. And nor are any of the other Trump nominees the people to guide us and lead us right now. So I'm here with a passionate plea. I need to see more boxing gloves. I need to see more clear, we are not tolerating this language. That's what I'm here for today. I'm here for my life, for the life of my aging people that I love dearly, and for my daughters. That's why I'm here today.
So let's talk about these other nominees, but I know this gentleman right here had something to say. Go ahead.
Well, I just had 2 quick points. One is, I'm pretty confident that Whitehouse is not going to vote for RFK's nomination. I think we all are. We're not sure.
I'm not
The fact that he hasn't come out, well, maybe
Me
not.
neither.
But I do want to make it very clear that if he does vote to confirm RFK, I will never vote for him again.
Never, 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 never,
That
never.
goes
100%.
It's a
for most
deal
of the
breaker.
state
It's
of
a
Rhode
deal
Island.
breaker.
So I just want him to know that. If he does that, he's toast.
I want to.
I
We're the
think he
people
does.
who actually
But
do, during an election, do the work. So I realize a lot of people say that, but we're the people who wrote millions of postcards and who actually spent hours and hours for the last 8 years on phone banks.
Let him go.
Go ahead, yeah.
But my second point is the notion of process. I understand what he's doing. He's saying, we've got to go through the process. I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm going to listen to the guy before I vote him down. Fine. But the Democrats' adherence to the process has led us into this situation.
Yes.
You know, we went through Mueller not really testifying, you know, saying, read my 1,000-page report. I won't say anything here. Just absolutely ridiculous. We saw people sitting on the bench while Biden was, you know, clearly incapable of running for office and waited too long. What would have happened if we did it quicker? Who knows? But again, it was process. This is, you don't throw the process out the window because that's what the enemy has done, but you also don't adhere to the process. You know, you're fighting you're fighting with knives and somebody's got a bazooka. It's like sometimes you just have to act, and you got to act decisively, and you've got to lead. I'm so tired of everybody staying like this, saying, "What does the public want us to do here with Biden?" You know, we'll kind of see. How about leading? How about saying, I can see, we can all see, this guy doesn't have it anymore. He was president for time to go. And it
I'd
didn't
like
happen.
to add one more personal story. I'm moved by Jen's, and that is, I don't know if anybody in this room has ever had this experience, but I have held in my arms an infant, a newborn, an 8-day-old who died of tetanus.
Oh, God.
And this baby died of tetanus in my arms because his mother was not able to afford a 25-cent vaccine for tetanus either before or while she was pregnant. She lived in a small village in West Africa where the average annual salary is about $500. The vaccines themselves, the vial is free, but the needle costs 25 cents. In addition, in order to qualify to spend the 25 cents for the needle, somebody has to spend 50 cents to buy a notebook so that the nurse can annotate the date of the vaccine. This girl didn't have 75 cents. She wasn't vaccinated. Her infant wasn't protected against tetanus through the umbilical cord. She couldn't afford a new razor blade to cut the umbilical cord. And the umbilical cord was infected, and the baby died after 8 days. So I'm an anthropologist. I was documenting this for my book. And afterwards, I did some research to see how common this is. Well, 500,000 children around the world die of tetanus, mostly because of this, because their parents can't afford vaccines. We claim that we're the richest country in the world. We're the best country in the world. We have the best this, we have the best that. We understand the science behind tetanus vaccines. There's no reason that any child in America should die of tetanus. Right now, 45 children in the global north a year die of tetanus. 500,000 in the global south die of tetanus.
I think the point is we just withdrew from the WHO.
We
Right.
just withdrew from the WHO.
Yeah.
With
And
RFK being an anti-vaxxer,
Yeah.
how many children in America, the so-called richest country in the world, are going to die of tetanus? And I can tell you, holding a dying newborn of tetanus, I won't even discuss what it was like,
but it's a physical memory that will never leave me.
It's
I
a-
brought my book. I want to give it to Sheldon because I want him to read the 20 pages where I describe this process.
It's not a easy death. It's a terrible, painful death. I should also say that in that village, when the doctors came with all the vaccines, everybody in the village lined up because they knew that vaccines worked. They're not going to say, oh, well, this or that, or blah, 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 or autism. What? They were all there because from their experience, you get a vaccine, you don't die.
And I
this
interviewed
young
the
woman
women
fell
on.
through the cracks.
I interviewed the women on that line to ask, because I'm an anthropologist, I wanted to know what their knowledge was. I asked, what are the diseases that you're getting vaccinated against? They said, we have no idea, but we know it's good.
So
But
Sheldon-
how many people
Sheldon
know that
Sheldon
that White
supports
that
science.
he's
Yeah.
He's
That's
married
not-
to a
sorry.
scientist, so I know he knows this. And so if that's all it takes to tip him over against RFK, who really does not follow the science and does not know what he's talking about, it's so obvious how he should vote on that. And it's just, in my view, I think Sheldon does vote the right way. So I would just like him to be more public. He needs to be more vocal and more visible, and he needs to lead.
Gotcha.
We're looking for leaders.
We are aware of like how he likes to work with the caucus and do it in the background. Like everybody has their own style. Not everybody can be as outspoken as AOC or Jasmine Crockett or Maxwell Frost, right? That's the new generation of leadership, holding on to those norms, holding on to that process. That's part of who Sheldon is. We get that. It can't be who he is in 2025. It just can't.
You can take a break.
He can take a break from the norms. He can take a break from the process, and we will back him. That's the thing. The voters, when they see that, when they see just a little bit of fight, not giving the answers to the test to RFK, like even in the Kash Patel hearing today, he was head and shoulders better than he was yesterday because he brought receipts. He questioned him on, hey, did you actually repost that? Yeah, I did. Okay, great. So now we have a statement of fact, and we're all starting from the same level, right? So he needs to be doing that with every nomination. He needs to be calling for quorum calls to make sure that we slow down everything possible, because the bazooka and the knife thing, that is a mismatch. We need to have leadership in the Democratic Party. You can see clearly in the data that people are leaving the Democratic Party in droves looking for another answer because the leadership is feckless. So if he can do it with a safe seat in a very blue state and a 20-point mandate, that will inspire the rest of them who might be on shaky ground to say, you know what? Now is not the time to worry about whether I'm going to get reelected or not, because even if I don't get reelected, I will have stood for the right thing. I will have opposed this MAGA agenda altogether, and every nominee. So this is our charge to you. I hope you're writing this down. Maybe you have a photographic memory. I don't know. But our charge is we want all of these nominations to have to be tie-break nominations, to be tie-break approvals. Make it so that there is no question that Sheldon Whitehouse will lead in the Democratic Party to say, you know what? I don't even care. Like Marco Rubio, fine. That was like Senate, partnership, whatever, right? He's probably the least dangerous of all of these people. Okay, he's bad, but he's not as bad as some of these other folks. 99-0 though, nobody fought back.
Yeah.
Every single vote, he has to vote no. He has to. Right? RFK is one. If he even thinks about voting yes for anybody else, we're gonna remember that. And we're not threatening anybody, but listen, man, he's got 6 years to fight this, and we will fight every step of the way.
He's safe for
with
those
him.
6 years.
Yeah.
Right? We will fight every step of the way.
I not agree with you that he votes on things to get reelected. That's not the way.
I'm not saying
Well,
he
that's what you
It's
said.
part of the calculus.
That's what you said.
generally
part of the
within
calculus.
the process of politics is
But
what
that's
you're
what you
gonna
said. That's what you said. And
But
he
it's
doesn't
part of
vote
the
that.
calculus,
It's part of the
George.
calculus,
So you
George.
shouldn't really be worrying about that. We'll be here in 2020,
2030.
whatever.
It's not part of
for
his
him.
calculus. He's taken
it's always
taken
part of
votes
it.
that have not been popular here in Rhode Island. He's done that, and he's taken positions on that.
Well,
So-
one other thing that he needs to
couple
consider
of
when he
voices.
takes a stand, 90 million Americans didn't vote because they're unaware, apathetic, or whatever.
That's on
Our
us, too.
elected officials can educate those people. So as Sheldon stands up and says, I cannot vote for this, I cannot even consider confirming this nominee because he's a Project 2025, blah, 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 this is what he's going to do.
Right, town hall next.
I get it.
I'm going to take
But
these. She has a question, and I think
Yes.
Nancy had a question, and I've got to get back to work. So
This
Okay.
is work.
I understand. I have things I have to do.
This is work.
This is
Go,
the
Nancy.
job.
I mean, go, Jerry.
This is more of a statement. I believe we're at Armageddon. I agree with everything that's been said. I agree that I wouldn't vote for him either, even though I'm a huge supporter and have donated and worked for him. But right now, RFK is just one of the crazies. The entire administration is crazy. And they are out to get rid of our democracy, our government. I have a son who's a federal employee. He received, yesterday, he received an email from Elon Musk telling him, along with 2 million other federal employees, that if he did not accept the buyout, he will be fired. I also am aware of people who work in other departments, EPA, natural resources, all kinds of departments in the federal government. They are all in disarray. They are all fearful for their lives. 2 million people.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of all of them. We will no longer have a democracy. We will no longer have a republic of any kind with input from people because they will control everything.
They're on their way.
On their way. Look at the SAVE Act. If that passes, that's it. So, as everybody else has just said, if we don't have a unified, very strong, powerful, passionate opposition coming from every single Democrat, Congress, Senate, lower positions, everyone needs to stand up against the craziness and say, we believe in our country, we believe in democracy, and if they get away with this, that's it. It's over.
Got it.
One more thing.
Is your son willing to go to the press with that letter? Because that's very different from what's
It's in
been
the press.
reported.
It's already out
Not
there.
that Elon Musk.
I
either.
would, the Elon
Oh,
Musk
The
thing,
OMB
saying
It's
it
not
will be
from
fine.
Elon Musk, but it's the same
OPM.
title, subject.
OPM sent the first
Right.
memo.
Oh, okay, all right.
This is literally, like, legitimately from Elon
Huh.
Musk, you're saying?
No way.
Yeah, so
When
we
he
need to see
signed
He
it.
has
that.
no
He signed
authority.
it?
He has zero.
I don't know the particulars. I just had my son
That's
over for
pretty-
dinner last night, and
that's
this is what he was
pretty important.
reporting.
I think it's
That's
the
very
subject
important.
line, it's the same subject line Musk used when he
Fork in the
fired all the
road.
Go ahead,
Twitty.
Nancy.
Twitter, he didn't
I
actually
gotta wrap
sign
this
it.
up.
You gave me a lot of time, so I'm not going to repeat what I said to you. I'm a social worker. This is an educated group of strong advocates. What you're not hearing, what you're not seeing are the people whose voices are never heard. I'm a clinical social worker on Aquidneck Island. I work with Medicaid clients. I've had to hospitalize a transgender client who's at high suicide risk. This is a horrible situation. People are already being terribly impacted by these decisions because of fear. 7 families have called me concerned that they're not going to be able to feed their kids. Are we going to lose school breakfasts and school lunches?
It was on the
Yesterday,
list.
I was told that a middle school on Aquidneck Island had ICE officials lingering outside. Teachers are transporting their students home because they are terrified. I am familiar with Hasbro Children's Hospital. ICE
That wasn't
officials,
true, though, that thing about the
But-
school.
But I
teachers
was-
are
I
transporting
was in
students home
Newport
because they're
yesterday.
terrified.
But the
School
chaos-
absences
But
are up
yeah,
because parents
yeah,
are not
but if
sending
that-
children to school.
No, I understand, but that wasn't, I spoke with the chief yesterday, and it was one individual who had already been targeted. The FBI was already
Right.
looking at him.
But it's
But
causing.
I understand that people are
the
worried,
fear
and I'm
is there.
worried too.
And also, ICE officials are going to be allowed into hospitals. Hasbro Children's Hospital, where my granddaughter has been many times over the last 10 years. My daughter-in-law is now concerned about getting our little Clara there safely and how to help her get prepared in case she sees ICE interrogating people in
Yeah.
either the intensive care unit or waiting areas at Hasbro Children's Hospital. Hospital officials are being sent these mandates about how to respond. It is happening now. It is a crisis. It's not a crisis waiting to happen. It is already happening. I haven't slept for the last 3 nights. And I'm very concerned, and I'm here to represent those who cannot drive up here because they don't have transportation, those who don't know how to communicate to Sheldon Whitehouse. I can tell them, write your senator, but they're not going to do it. So if there's anything I can do, I know he's doing his due diligence, please let me know. I will do whatever I need to do to represent those who cannot be here today.
His orders are coming out in such rapid fire that I refer to it, it's like an assault weapon. I can't keep up. In church on Sunday, our rector announced that something I had not heard was that churches are no longer sanctuaries for people.
Churches,
When
schools, and
in
hospitals.
Churches, schools, and hospitals.
yeah,
they're not.
The federal government cannot commandeer the states to do its job.
But if
Did
they
you
have a
guys
warrant,
see-
they
did
can
you
go
see
in
the-
anywhere they
They
want.
But the
Attorney
big
General
point
has
is
put out-
there's the bigger point is
No,
that
Rona's
there's
done a
chaos,
good thing.
right?
They're
I mean,
already
that's-
impacted.
I've got to wrap this up, guys. I really.
So,
George, can I just say one really quick thing?
Yeah.
And then I won't say another word. I'm a big picture thinker.
Yep.
I try not to look at, the needle point. I'm looking at things from the bird's eye view. One of the things that I want to try and communicate is that Rhode Island, I worked the polls in Middletown, pretty apathetic. The turnout was abysmal for such a critical election. Passion inspires passion.
Yes.
So regardless of whether or not Whitehouse is up for re-election, regardless of, how he votes in these hearings, hearing him passionately and clearly speak about the issues that matter to his constituents might potentially inspire people of my generation or younger to get involved, the leaders we need in the future. So I'm hoping that he's willing to carry the torch now and then inspire people that might want to carry the torch in the future. That's incredibly important to me.
All right. Well, thank you very much for coming, and I will take this back
Thank you for hearing us.
to him.
He did not, we did not inspire yesterday.
Is this
He scared
effective?
me.
Does this matter? Is this better than us telephoning you and emailing? Because I
You
email
guys are
Sheldon a couple
welcome to
times a
do,
week.
whatever you.
Is this more effective though than just emailing or telephoning?
I
Because we
leave that
can
to you.
organize phone
I leave
meetings.
that to you guys.
We could keep your phones busy probably every day of the week.
They've been busy. They've been busy.
All right.
Should we all sign in?
Everybody
You
should
can if
sign
you'd like.
in.
It's up to you.
I would urge you to sign
He's
in.
heard from me a lot over the many, many years, believe me. And all good, that's the thing, it's been all good, but not everything. Yeah, I can turn,
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Where do you live in Pawtucket?
I'm in Fairmont.
Oh,
So like right by Twins Pizza.
all right. Okay. So I grew up there.
Oh yeah?
oh my God.
There you go.
Can we count on you to pass the word about town halls?
did. I
That
will.
we will get more people there.
Yeah.
Especially if they're on a weekend.
Yeah.
People who are working and stuff, because we are really concerned at all levels of Rhode Island.
Now, on the other
Society.
hand, Senator Michael
Bennett.
from
Bennett.
Oh, yeah.
Bennett, oh my
Really
God,
good.
he was magnificent.
Yeah.
The difference between his disappointment and magnificence was
Yes. Yeah.
sad to
I
say.
think one of the things that people are saying is that this is 1939, and you can't operate the
32.
usual way in 1939, and Sheldon Whitehouse doesn't want to be Neville Chamberlain.
Right,
It's
he
time
does
to
not.
respond and handle yourself in the way that times demand.
Yeah, it's 1932.
32?
The election.
Oh, okay, all right. Oh, well, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
I'll be right back. Let me just go. I gotta go check something.
Thank you for showing up.
Again, honestly, if you have to do this one a week, I think we need to see Jack Reed too.
Sure.
We did it once a
So,
week
Hey,
back
for
then,
for
each
those-
office.
Yeah, no, thank you all for coming. So what I'll do is I'm gonna send an email to everybody. And if you wanna just, I'll put it in there. You can literally copy and paste the email as like a wrap up of what happened today and send it to the office. And I'll give you all the email addresses and all that stuff. So they can't, ignore what happened or kind of like tell a different story to Sheldon Whitehouse. So I think that's important anytime we take any sort of action like this, is to always, just kind of like you would at work, right? Contemporaneous notes, here's what we talked about, here are the things that matter, and send it to who it needs to go to. And I'll do that. So I'll send everybody who's here an email with a copy and paste that you can just pop straight to them with the email addresses and everything.
But Jack Reed is kind of invisible too, so
Yeah.
I think we should do this at Jack Reed's office
I
as
agree.
well.
I agree.
Do it at his Cranston.
He's
He
been
did.
really good about
Do that as
being
Cranston
vocal.
office.
He did good against.
Don't do
he
it
was
as the
good with
downtown office, do it in
Hexbeth.
Cranston.
office,
It's much more accessible.
Sure.
You won't be allowed up to the,
Yeah, I think like
Downtown
he's been
office.
very vocal about his opposition to things, and he was excellent in
Was a
some of the
key
areas
player.
he was in. So, I'm listen. We're all
The
in
Hexbeth
support.
hearing was
Downtown.
great.
Hexbeth hearing was
But-
great.
Crazy
Yeah. So it's
security.
important that we just kind of take it as it comes and don't. We can't freak out about every single thing because then we're not freaking out about anything.
But it's all the nominees right now.
I want to just say thank you for the emails leading up to
Yeah,
this.
yeah, for
And I
sure.
don't know if you're composing them or
Yeah,
if
I
they're coming
am.
them
That's
from
me.
the organization, but I love the take this action, it takes 2 minutes. Here's these
you.
email addresses. Like, it makes it so easy to be
Thank you.
involved, especially if you're busy or confused or don't really know where to get started. And it's helped me forward them to other people.
Awesome. No, thank you.
So thank you
Yeah,
for that.
Absolutely. I'm a former teacher, so I try to break things down as like simply as possible for everyone.
I found that very helpful.
Yeah,
Great, no, thank you. I'll keep that format then, that I think will be helpful
It's
for
great.
folks, yeah.
It's great.
And we are having our next general member meeting as well. I'll send it out, but I think it's like February 11th or something like that. And we're gonna have a speaker from Indivisible about the ICE raids and what to do in schools and all of that stuff. It'll be online, yeah. It'll be online. 11th or 12th, let me check the date. I need to send it out, but I was waiting, I didn't want to overwhelm people.
I'm not normally on
hear it right now.
your
Yeah.
emails. I don't know how I got on
Thank you for your
notification
voice.
this time.